Bustling Christmas cheer fills the streets of Nebraska City, Nebraska. The small town of about 7,000 is big on holiday spirit. Settled in the mid-19th century, wide open spaces and golden fields still surround the town, much as they did when newspaperman J. Sterling Morton and his wife Caroline arrived to celebrate their first Christmas here in 1855. The Mortons transformed the treeless prairie around their home into a lush woodland. J. Sterling Morton, a passionate naturalist, later convinced his state to be the first to celebrate Arbor Day, and he called his home Arbor Lodge. Today, the magnificent stuccoed mansion with its neo-colonial facade and massive columns is especially elegant at Christmas time.
At the holiday time, it was a happy, rejoiceful, family-oriented time, and the decorations that we have just kind of bring to that spirit, that life of family.
Holiday trimmings in the 52-room estate reflect the joy of Christmas celebrations enjoyed by 2 generations of Mortons at Arbor Lodge. From the natural decorations of pine cones, berries, and evergreens enjoyed by the first generation to the sparkling traditions of their children, Arbor Lodge is an elegant statement of the spirit of Christmas. Even though the beginnings of Arbor Lodge were more modest, the 4 elegant rooms of the original 1855 home were still an unheard-of luxury on the prairie.
It was the only framed house, wood-framed house between here and the Rocky Mountains. So at that time, you know, it was a pretty elaborate home.
Garlands, ornaments, and toys reminiscent of the 19th century adorned the original parlor of the home. Inlaid walnut and maple floors add warmth, while Mrs. Morton's beloved Waters piano makes it a room that echoes with the delights of holidays past. Christmas of 1863 is believed to have been celebrated in this very room, as recalled in a Christmas Day letter from Mr. Morton to his father.
About 12 last night, I heard a noise in the room, and looking around, discovered Master Joy inspecting stockings at leisure, and his chuckles of satisfaction were altogether hearty. The merriest, noisiest Christmas I have ever seen is being celebrated by the sons of your affectionate son, J. Sterling Morton.
As the Morton family grew, so did their wealth and their home. By 1879, Arbor Lodge included a graceful porch and several bedrooms upstairs. In the expanded dining room, decades of Christmas dinners were enjoyed at the family table, on china designed especially for the Mortons by Burroughs and Munford.
I think it was a time of family for the Mortons. They also loved to entertain too, and so they would have had them here for Christmas.
A special dinner guest stayed at Arbor Lodge on 2 occasions, President Grover Cleveland. It was the result of J. Sterling Morton's increased political connections and new position as U.S. Secretary of Agriculture in the late 19th century. Family traditions and success were not lost on the 4 Morton sons. The oldest, Joy Morton, later founded the Morton Salt Company. And when he inherited Arbor Lodge in 1903, he expanded the grandeur of his parents' home to its current 52-room splendor. Laden with poinsettias, the magnificent staircase of the grand entry reaches new heights in holiday elegance. The room's green carpeting suits the season, but has a deeper meaning.
The green carpeting represents the green grass, anything of nature or the woodland, flowers. This was always reflected in the home.
In the 1903 library, a golden ceiling representing sunrise combines with red walls symbolizing sunset. Together, they form a warm holiday glow throughout the room. A bench made by Gustav Stickley, inlaid with a bird and tree motif, holds Christmas gifts for eager holiday visitors. But a real statement of the mansion's 1903 opulence crowns the sun parlor. Here, a lofty ceiling bears an enormous skylight that reaffirms the family's love of nature.
It was done by Louis Tiffany, and the window opens up to reveal just the natural sky or the air.
Nature's presence is also seen in the formal parlor, where luscious holiday decorations spill over the mantel of the mirrored fireplace, setting the tone for holiday merriment. Sandwich glass candelabras and French silk wall coverings original to the 1903 room add to the holiday elegance. Joy Morton and his family enjoyed 2 decades at Arbor Lodge before donating the home and property to the state of Nebraska in 1923. Today, Arbor Lodge remains a rich symbol of the elegance and grace of the season, a Christmas castle enhanced by time and traditions. When we come back, a well-known artist built an unusual home in eastern Pennsylvania almost a century ago. Now it's a true holiday palace. A colorful and creative masterpiece is next on Christmas Castles.
Brought to you by Robert Mondavi. One wine always connects.
Hundreds by Henry Mercer. Mercer was a noted tile maker, artist, and scholar who created a storybook castle called Font Hill. Open to the public since 1976, Font Hill becomes even more magical during the Christmas season.
I think it's a wonderful feeling to be here. The house has just a wonderful feel to it of the art that this man brought to it, his spirit. It's a wonderful time of year to be in a castle, to pretend perhaps that we all are the people living in the castle.
Henry Mercer's handiwork looks a bit fantastic on the outside, and there are even more twists and turns inside the castle's concrete walls. Each narrow passage winds its way to a delightful Christmas surprise, framed by stunning vaulted ceilings and exquisite tile work. The brightly colored tiles form intricate mosaics that decorate the rooms year-round. But during the holidays, the castle feels even more like a Christmas cathedral when it's dressed with greenery and candles. Christmas trees appear around unexpected corners. The evergreens are an example of Mercer's love of nature.
We do know that Mercer had a very scholarly interest in a variety of things related to Christmas, such as the Christmas tree. He actually wrote a paper on the origins.
Henry Mercer was also very interested in Pennsylvania German culture, especially the Moravians. The Moravians were craftspeople who settled nearby Bethlehem, Pennsylvania in the 1740s.
This tree represents our Moravian tree. It has on it paper stars called the Moravian star. The Moravian star is a multi-pointed star. Some of them had as many as 96 points. These stars have only 16 points, and they're hand-folded.
The red, gold, and white stars were also chosen to reflect the colors of nature and the colors of Mercer's tile work. His tiles were what made Henry Mercer well known. Mercer tiles can be found in some of the most prominent homes and public buildings in America. Mercer was at the forefront of the arts and crafts movement and strongly believed that a house should reflect the person who lives there. Mercer's mansion is his masterpiece. With 42 rooms, 18 fireplaces, and 32 staircases, Mercer built his house himself at age 52 without blueprints.
He wanted the poetry of the past, but the convenience of the present.
Although an untrained architect, many contemporary architects say that Mercer was a master of light.
The 200 windows of the castle may look randomly placed at first, but Mercer planned each one to flood the house with light during the day. At night, the effect becomes even more dramatic as the house becomes a holiday lantern.
It glows from the inside out. It really is wonderful.
The castle's saloon functioned as his living and dining room, as well as his tile showroom.
The ceilings of the saloon are 14 feet high. And so we need a very large tree to fill the space. The tree is decorated very much in a Victorian manner with handmade decorations based on antique decorations that we have in our collection.
More brilliant tiles decorate the saloon, which is filled with artifacts from all over the world. Examples of the motto of the man who made the mansion.
There's always more to do. There's always more to learn. There's always more to create. And in Font Hill, literally, there's always more to see.
Especially during the Christmas season, when the house has a special holiday radiance.
I think it has a certain magic for most people.
Some visitors say the house has the childlike charm of a sandcastle combined with the grandeur of a European palace. Font Hill is a fascinating glimpse into the life of a real Renaissance man. And today, this storybook mansion remains an enchanting example of America's Christmas castles. When we return, the stunning entry hall in this elegant Florida mansion is 4,400 square feet all by itself. The extravagance of the holidays in America's Gilded Age is next on Christmas Castles.
The Mantis Tiller Cultivator is making gardening easier for everyone. The Mantis weighs just 20 pounds, so it's easy to carry and operate. Yet the unique...
Palm Beach, Florida is a special winter wonderland of sand and ships instead of snow and cold. But Christmas is still a time for beloved traditions and family gatherings at the Flagler Museum's Whitehall Mansion, a turn-of-the-century masterpiece where the rituals of Christmas past live on today.
What we've done here at Whitehall with Christmas is to try to get closer and closer to what the traditional decorations would have been.
This beautiful residence was originally built for the man who helped build Florida, Henry Morrison Flagler. Flagler was one of the founders of Standard Oil, a self-made millionaire who built railroads and developed property throughout Florida in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. When Flagler married his third wife, Mary Lily, he built this stunning house to be their winter retreat.
When Whitehall was completed in 1902, it was described by the New York Herald as the grandest and most beautiful residence anywhere in the world.
Today, the 55-room house opens its doors to visitors who come for a glimpse into America's Gilded Age. The house's grandest room is a 4,400 square foot fantasy known as Marble Hall, decked for Christmas in boughs and bows. Since 1960, when Henry Flagler's granddaughter turned the house into a museum, a towering Christmas tree at one end of Marble Hall has been the focus of a new family tradition.
It has been our tradition during that time to light the Christmas tree and to have those who light it be the grandchildren or the descendants of Henry Morrison Flagler. These days, we're down to the great-great-great-grandchildren who come in to light the tree.
The lovely hand-sewn ornaments on the Marble Hall Christmas tree reflect the tastes of an earlier age. Brilliant electric lights in a rainbow of colors illuminate the tree. Using electricity instead of candles was a Gilded Age innovation.
Here in Whitehall, we have electric colored light bulbs. Even in 1902, even though it was the edge of the Everglades, Flagler was going to have the latest in technology built into his whatever he did.
In the library, plaid bows and pretty poinsettias give this handsome room some holiday cheer. Portraits of Henry Flagler adorn the walls and desk, while a Christmas tree points towards a lofty ceiling of faux painted plaster. A barrel-vaulted hallway leads to one of Whitehall's greatest treasures, an extravagant ballroom lit with baccarat crystal chandeliers. The ballroom was the site of lavish dances during the holiday season when the Flaglers entertained Palm Beach society. The holiday season was also the time for extravagant feasts, served with elegance in the dining room.
Meals in Gilded Age society were very highly stylized social events with all sorts of accoutrements and many, many courses and very exotic foods.
Garlands wrap around the enormous fireplace decorated with intricate carvings. In the adjoining breakfast room, the Christmas tree boasts a cornucopia of colorful ornaments.
We know that Christmas was about abundance in their minds, even more than it is for us today.
Whitehall boasts an abundance of Christmas details, but decorating this 70,000 square foot house is a monumental task.
It's a real challenge because it takes literally truckloads of material to make it look like it's even sort of decorated for Christmas. And so we have to do a lot of custom things. We have to make the bows because I can't buy bows off the shelf that are big enough that would look appropriate in scale.
With its soaring white walls graciously accented with evergreen garlands, Whitehall is a Christmas treat for Palm Beach visitors. It remains a brilliant reminder of a golden age. When we come back, the Christmas holidays were a special time for joyous music at Whitehall. The melodic family traditions in one of America's great historic homes when Christmas Castles returns.
For information on this program, visit HGTV.com and click on our TV specials listing. On the website, you'll also find thousands of ideas and step-by-step.
The entrepreneur Henry Morrison Flagler built a railroad through vast areas of swamp and plains and created new cities like Palm Beach. Today, Whitehall, the mansion Flagler built, is a well-known house museum and Palm Beach landmark, draped and decorated for the Christmas season. And inside, its exquisite music room is a tuneful reminder of how holidays used to be celebrated.
Music during this time was an incredibly important part of any activity, any social activity.
Henry Flagler's third wife, Mary Lily, was an accomplished singer who loved to entertain friends and family in the music room. Beautiful crystal chandeliers hang from intricate medallions and flank the paintings set into the recessed ceiling. Christmas decorations here all play on the same theme. A tiny drum is made of the same material that covers the walls, and instruments and angels float from the tree branches. But the key to this production is the amazing custom-built organ with a matching player piano. Made by New York's famous Odell Company, the organ has over 1,000 pipes and rows of knobs and keys to create a variety of sounds.
And an organ represented for Gilded Age citizens a really fantastic instrument that could do just anything they could imagine.
The Flaglers often employed a professional organist to entertain their guests. The Flagler Museum continues the tradition of a musical Christmas.
We traditionally light the Christmas tree at Whitehall on the first Sunday in December. And the community comes in and enjoys hearing the organ play, which isn't played very often.
The sounds and sights of the Gilded Age remain a vital part of Christmas traditions at Whitehall in Palm Beach, Florida, where the holidays mark a special time for one of America's grandest homes. In America's most magnificent historic homes, Christmas comes wrapped in elaborate packaging. With colorful attention to detail and respect for the past, holiday tradition and spirit still radiate from these majestic Christmas castles.
Experience the grandeur of yesteryear with our series Christmas Castles as we tour historic mansions built by some of America's wealthiest families. Coming up next on HGTV.
It was here in Statsburg, New York, that a wealthy American family celebrated the holidays in high society style. The Mills were millionaires in the late 1800s, and their lavish mansion was the site of many a glittering Christmas in America's Gilded Age. Despite the towering facade outside and the 65 luxurious rooms inside, owners Ogden Mills and Ruth Livingston Mills considered this stunning 1,600-acre estate simply their comfortable country home.
This was a seasonal mansion for the Millses, one of 5 mansions that they owned, and this was their fall residence where they would come here around the middle of September and stay through the Christmas holidays.
And the holidays were spectacular here. At the time, electric Christmas lights would have been unusual, except among the most elite homes in America. The lights added even more sparkle to the 3 indoor Christmas trees.
Decorations would have been a combination of glass bulbs, paper decorations, cardboard decorations.
Natural accents were also popular during the holidays. Ruth Mills placed colorful plants throughout the house. Even a fireplace mantle would overflow with flowers. Red roses and ribbons add a touch of Christmas color in almost every room of the mansion. The centuries-old estate had already been in Ruth Mills' family for 4 generations before she inherited and remodeled it in 1890.
Mrs. Mills, being a leading hostess in New York society and entertaining on a grand scale, decided that the 25-room mansion just simply wasn't going to be large enough to suit her entertaining needs, and decided in 1894 to enlarge Mills' mansion to the 65 rooms and 14 bathrooms.
The fancy facelift explains the elaborate exterior, complete with imposing ionic columns.
It was Ruth Livingston Mills' goal in life to become the next queen of society.
So Mrs. Mills didn't hesitate to show off her distinguished American heritage. Portraits of her prominent ancestors hang in the main hall. A 15-foot Christmas tree shimmers in the corner of the 50-foot-long library. The French furniture, Persian rug, and the gilded ceilings were all designed to remind visitors of the French Palace Versailles. The huge house was often filled with guests. Members of the Mills social circle would visit for the outdoor activities.
They entertained constantly while they were here at their estate.
But during the holidays, the focus was inside the mansion, where Mrs. Mills hosted her annual Grand Gala, an invitation guaranteed holiday drama, starting at the bottom of the driveway.
The reason why the driveway is curved so much like it is that so people, while they're coming up the driveway, can get this great view of the mansion.
Inside, another amazing sight would await. A 24-foot tall Christmas tree towering above the main hall. The top of the majestic tree, with its opulent ornaments, reached up through the grand staircase to the 2nd floor. The sight must have been a heavenly vision for Victorian visitors. The Mills planned a sumptuous Christmas feast in the dining room, a showplace featuring magnificent gold leaf ceilings and Belgian tapestries from the 1700s. The mahogany table with 17 leaves was laden with Christmas decorations. On top of this nostalgic table setting, an evergreen trellis forms a canopy. A wreath hangs from the Christmas centerpiece, and 3 shiny bells complete the seasonal scene. In 1918, at the end of World War I, the table might have also been topped by Allied Christmas trees decorated with the flags of friendly nations, highlighted by red, white, and blue lights.
Christmas 1918 was a really important Christmas because, again, it was the first Christmas in 5 years where there was finally peace.
After dinner, Ruth and her lady friends would have chatted in a drawing room filled with priceless treasures. A garland of greens and flowers wraps around the gilt bronze clock and candelabra from France. Mrs. Mills' boudoir was her private sitting room, and only her closest friends would have been invited in to visit and see her personal Christmas tree. But at holiday time, an invitation was extended to the local community to see the rest of the house.
We know that through a newspaper account that on one Christmas, they did open up on Christmas Eve the mansion to the local community so that they could come in and view the Christmas decorations.
Visitors today still find the Mills' festive decorations fascinating, and it takes an entire month for curators to decorate every year. But the thousands who tour the Mills Mansion during the holidays will see a shining example of Christmas, celebrated during the Gilded Age in one of America's most impressive Christmas castles. When we come back, a seaside showplace on the Texas Gulf Coast glows with the holiday spirit. This 29-room mansion shows off its Victorian elegance. Next on Christmas Castles.
HGTV takes you on a countrywide Yuletide adventure.
Small town
Off the coast of Rockport, Texas, the golden waters of the Gulf of Mexico glisten under the warm winter sun. Along the water's edge rises a Christmas treasure waiting to be unwrapped. The Fulton Mansion is a seaside showplace of wealth and style, dressed in the elegant ribbons and bows of the season.
This is just a beautiful, beautiful time to be in this house because you walk in the door, it smells good, it looks beautiful, and it just makes you feel good to be here.
Christmas came to Fulton Mansion in 1877 when cattle rancher George W. Fulton and his wife Harriet celebrated the home's first Yuletide. Its French Second Empire architecture inspired awe as an exceptional example of high-style Victorian opulence on the flat Texas plain. At Christmas time, the Fultons adorned their three-story home in Mother Nature's earthly gifts. Sprigs of sweet bay and yaupon, gathered from local Texas merchants, lined the pathway to the 29-room southern symbol of success. Open to the public for almost 20 years, the Fulton Mansion delights in the merriment of an old-fashioned Victorian holiday.
It looks very much like it did, exactly like it did when the Fultons were living here.
The Renaissance Revival-style parlor was the heart of the Fulton celebrations. A 10-foot evergreen tree stands in the front bay window as the most visible symbol of their joyous Yuletide cheer.
That it's very highly decorated with a combination of handmade ornaments as well as ornaments that they would have bought from the store.
The Fultons and their 4 children gathered in the crimson parlor to weave popcorn garlands and craft simple paper decorations. The tree's fresh boughs held tiny white candles purchased by the pound. The materials were simple, but the results were extravagant.
They lit the tree once on Christmas Eve, and after that, the candles were blown out, and that was it for lighting the tree.
Across the spacious entry, trimmed in cypress and black walnut, the library showcases a 19th century Yuletide tradition. The tabletop goose feather tree was one of the first artificial Christmas trees available in America. Simple accents of Tide berries, Dresden ornaments, and gilded walnuts complemented the library's masculine decor. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care. As was the tradition, the Fulton children drooped their everyday footwear from the Christmas lambrequin on the fireplace. The family assembled under a gas chandelier in the graceful dining room for their formal 3 o'clock Christmas feast.
Turkey, ham, vegetables that were in season or that had been canned that they could bring out for the occasion.
The traditional dinner was served on fine English china, embellished with a festive rose band pattern and the Fulton monogram. Engraved Gorham silver flatware was another sign of the Fultons' abundant wealth. Upstairs, the family's original half-canopy black walnut bed still rests peacefully in the corner of the master bedroom. The lace-filled room overlooked the peaceful palm trees and was an inviting retreat where Mrs. Fulton could enjoy her Christmas cards.
People like the Fultons would have been able to afford to purchase Christmas cards and send them off to loved ones.
A lady's walnut writing table was Mrs. Fulton's desk when remembering friends and family across the miles. Today, visitors from near and far can recall a homemade holiday spirit at Fulton Mansion, as memories of yesteryear glow in the warmth of a Texas sunset. A century ago, it was a family's special holiday haven. Today, it shines as one of America's Christmas castles. When we return, an elegant Queen Anne mansion in Oregon celebrates the wonder of a well-to-do family's 19th century Yuletide. That's next on Christmas Castles.
The usefulness of that new sweater will be...
Columbia River winds its last turns out to the Pacific Ocean. A winter front rolls in over the wooded waterways of Astoria, Oregon. And one special sight from this sea of trees and tranquility is the Flavel House, an elegant Queen Anne mansion that recalls the wonder of a traditional Victorian holiday. Captain George Flavel was a wealthy entrepreneur and a well-respected riverboat pilot. In 1885, as he reached retirement age, he built this over 7,000 square foot mansion for himself, his wife Mary, and their 2 grown daughters. At the time, it was the largest house in Astoria, with the property spread over an entire city block.
The captain used the Queen Anne style, which is probably the most ornate of the Victorian styles, because he could afford it. He did it because he could.
Christmas at the Flavel House was a classic Victorian celebration. Simple in style, the decorations were natural and homemade. Swags of cedar welcomed visitors with sense of the season under a stained glass ship. In the music room, candles adorned the family's 14-foot noble fir Christmas tree. And on the 1870s marble tabletop, cranberries and popcorn were strung in preparation for another warm and treasured Flavel holiday.
It was a religious holiday, and it was a time for them to really reflect upon their family and what Christmas meant to them.
For the captain, what Christmas morning meant was his one day to sleep in on his East Lake walnut bed. Even on Christmas, the captain was known to check river traffic from his bird's eye view in the 4th-story cupola. Downstairs in the library, the Flavels gathered for family festivities. The tabletop noble fir was decorated with walnuts, orange slices, and metal stars. The captain received his holiday presents while seated in his favorite Turkish armchair. In the afternoon, guests arrived at the Flavel House and playfully avoided the kissing ball or mistletoe. A kissing ball was a Victorian tradition where kisses were politely stolen. Visitors were received in the formal parlor, furnished with 1880s East Lake-influenced pieces. Here, near the Belgian sideboard, Mary and her two daughters, Nellie and Katie, were gracious holiday hosts.
It was a very traditional family, a very well-respected family in and around Astoria, and they took their role in society very seriously.
This elegant room was open to callers throughout the holiday season. On a decorated Louis XVI ladies' writing table, an exquisite book of calling cards held reminders of visitors from holidays past. Christmas Day was a peaceful celebration for the Flavels, a chance to be close to family and share in a holiday feast. In the elegant dining room, appetizing images on the fireplace's burgundy tiles were enhanced by an abundance of apples and oranges displayed on the oak mantel. Much of the Flavels' fruit for Christmas was grown in the adjoining conservatory. Today, the Flavel House continues this glorious Victorian celebration by serving traditional plum pudding on the 1901 mahogany sideboard. Near the gleaming silver tea set, visitors can share in the splendor of an authentic Flavel family Christmas.
Bringing in live elements, I think that really makes the place come alive.
A place where homemade Victorian holidays were grown from the heart. When we come back, Christmas at Flavel House always featured a very special concert, a treasured family tradition in one of America's great historic homes when Christmas Castles returns. For holiday destinations. And above this peaceful port in Astoria, Oregon, the Flavel House radiated with Christmas cheer. Riverboat captain George Flavel built this graceful Queen Anne home in 1885. And every Christmas, the captain, his wife Mary, and their two daughters enjoyed a festive day filled with family and friends. But after their traditional holiday feast, a special evening in the music room was in store for guests at the Flavel House. Nellie, the eldest daughter, was an accomplished pianist. She received this 1850s rosewood piano as a gift from the captain. While Nellie played her treasured keepsake, ornamented with glowing candles, the youngest daughter, Katie, sang Christmas carols in her clear soprano voice.
The recital was very professional. Both daughters were very, very talented.
During the classical Christmas songs, the captain could proudly watch his two daughters from the back of a room full of guests. At the end of the evening, the Flavels would pass out gifts to their special friends from around the 14-foot noble fir tree. The tree ornaments reflected a magical evening of song and Christmas sparkle. A Victorian Christmas with a sense of elegance and simplicity marked the Flavel family holidays. Today, the graceful practices of yesteryear are continued at the Flavel House Museum, a holiday treat in the Pacific Northwest. Our nation's grandest homes have shone brightly for decades, and during Christmas, their beauty inspires both awe and the spirit of the season. The remembrance of these homes' holiday traditions continues to bring life to America's Christmas castles.
This has got to be the quietest Christmas we've ever had.
Oh, I know, but